This podcast is brought to you by the Deluxe Edition Network. To find more great shows on our network, head over to theden.show.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife? Oh, this is going to go downhill real quick.
What is going on, and welcome to Take on the Wolverine. Jay That's my name. So for the rest of the episode, I gotta.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, what do you think? And Mike D. Here once again. Last week we talked about the Shambo Tavern.
By the way, I wear the same clothes every week.
Shamo.
With the same stains on them.
Yeah. Dude, you see how stained my fucking work shirt is?
I wanted to ask you about what the fuck that was.
I left the pen in my pocket. I went through the wash, and it blew up. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm not buying any uniform because they're buying us uniforms now.
You know, that's what I always say. Why don't we go with the darker gray shirts? I like. Yeah. And everybody can wear a dark shirt in the summertime. It's too hot. Like, none of you fuckers are outside in the summertime. The only guys that don't mind are the people who are...
Well, the T-shirts we're getting are slightly darker than the ones we have now.
Good.
Which is a little bit better, and it still won't attract all the heat. So,
yeah. I mean, when you're outside and it's 98 degrees, you really think you can tell the difference between a white shirt and a black shirt?
Yes, you can, and I'm going to tell you why. I sweat so fucking much, when I come back inside, there's fucking salt stains on my fucking shirt.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, especially around my pits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have them, like I sweat
well,
so...
That means you're properly hydrated.
Well, I stay hydrated.
Like in Saipan, I think that's all I wore was black.
I stay hydrated. Hey, by the way, we're drinking this Belgian Abbey Ale.
Lafay?
It's a blonde. This is courtesy of Bubba. Thank you, Eric. My nephew was up to New York to watch the Islanders Hurricanes the last game of the season. And when he was coming back through, they came through Harrisburg. So I met him in Hershey. We went down to Trogs, and Eric and his friend Josh, we sat down, we had a meal, we had some beer, but they had this, and they didn't particularly like it. All I'm going to say is, Eric, you're fucking wrong. This is good.
But, well, you know what they say, right?
To each their own.
If it ain't cold beer or warm pussy, it'll probably kill us.
10-4. So, he gave me the rest of the case, and I'm grateful for it because I like it.
Thank you, Bubba. Have I met Bubba?
I don't think you have.
I've met a Bubba once or two times. Not sure which Bubba I met.
Well, he was a Southern boy. His mother's a Southern lady.
Okay.
His dad lived down south. He was Camp Lejeune. And when he was born, they just started calling him Bubba, and it stuck with every. Well, I don't know how many of his friends call him Bubba now. I call him Bubba. Like he'll always be Bubba to me.
I don't think I've met this feller you're talking about.
Eric's my boy. I love that kid. I love his wife. We were down for their wedding. We went down there. What was it, about 6-7 months ago? When we down North Carolina.
Oh yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
She's awesome. I'm hoping.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Because I asked if it was the guy that was up here for you boys' graduation party. No.
So he works for a company. I'm not sure what they do. I'm not sure what he does. He does customer service of some sort. He's a problem fixer. But I guess he might be up here because there's a company in the area that they're dealing with. So if he comes up, I'm telling you right now, Bubba, you bring your wife stays here. She's part of our family. And I want to make some more empanadas with her. It's all about the food, bro. Anyway, so we did Shambo's Tavern, which was right over the hill here. 4 miles away from us. We are covering something a little different today.
Just a tiny bit.
It's probably about as far away from here in the United States that you can get.
And as fucked up as you can get.
And I've been to this city.
I have not. I'm jealous. I don't know if I'll ever get out there. But I hope I will someday.
I tell you what, dude. There's not much there, but it's beautiful.
Well, I mean, it's like just going to the mountains. And it's just, there's something about the lore of the mountains that it's like leaves you awestruck.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, when I flew, just flying over this state, I must have taken 70 pictures from the window of the plane. Because I take pictures like a Chinese tourist.
Yes, you do.
I lay across the hood of a car and everything. I tell you, that's not Alaska like. Anywho.
I think to Alaska is home of the tallest mountain in the United States.
Is it?
Yes. And I believe it is, oh my God, I think it's 20, oh no, you might have to look this up. It's in between 14 and 20, but like all the other states, their biggest ones are 14ers. Like when you go to Colorado, they're like, you gotta hike a 14er. You gotta hike that's the tallest their mountains are. I think Pikes Peak is the tallest one. It's like 14, 7, 8, something like that.
And we were at 12,000.
But I think Alaska, their tallest mountain, which might be Mount McKinley, I think it's 21,000 feet.
Jesus. That's twice what we were, dude.
Don't quote me on that. But if you look at like Mount Everest, base camp of Mount Everest is 22,000 feet. Then you're going up to, I think it's 38,000 feet or 34. So, like most people,
that's almost 3 times what we were.
Yeah. Like, could you imagine seeing that?
Dude, I know that when we were in the Rockies, just getting off at the airport, the air was thin.
Yeah.
And we were sweating and huffing and puffing walking through the airport.
Yep.
Now, that was our first day there. But when we got up in the mountains, when we got to the top of that one where we went up, I was sucking air pretty good.
I know stories of people that get to base camp in Everest and they get what's called a pulmonary edema. And I think it's like a blood clot or something. And I know of a family member that they knew somebody that was his lifelong dream was to go hike Mount Everest. A very healthy, younger guy. He got to base camp, got sick, had this pulmonary edema, got flown to a hospital in Nepal, and died. And then they were arguing with, how are we going to get him back? Like, they're like, well, you need to pay all this money. It was just a whole mess, and, you don't think that, like, thin air could fuck you up like that, but it's almost like...
You can't get the oxygen you need, dude.
It's almost like...
The funny thing was...
as hard as, like, diving. Like, how you dive, and you're not...
If you don't do it right, you're fucked up.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
When we were out there, it was the first time I ever saw in the grocery stores, in the mini markets, oxygen tanks.
The canned air.
The canned fucking oxygen tanks. And I actually watched on Shark Tank a guy present them. And
I saw that too.
They're like, what the fuck? They're like, why? And he goes, well, you take that shot, and that shot of oxygen, and it invigorates you.
See, now, the time that I went before you went out, my dad bought a whole bunch of those. He's like, these are fucking bullshit. He's like, give me my Marlboros. He's like, I can't, I want to waste all my money on this shit. And I think I might have taken but I was in really good shape when I went that time, and I didn't need them.
Shape? As in round?
Well, yeah, I've always been a bigger guy, but no, this was got to be like 6 years ago. And
I remember when you started the jelly, this little fucking snot-nosed kid.
Yep.
Yep, got Similac behind your ears.
Similac. I didn't even know what Similac was. I'm like, what the fuck is Similac? What do you keep talking about?
I did that.
You guys never told me what Similac was, and then when I had a kid, I was like, oh, the first time I bought it, I'm like, I get it.
So I did that to you because when I started the jail, I was working with a friend of mine, Carasquillo, and Carasquillo used to do that to me all the time, and it just meant, look, you're a junior officer. So he reached behind, he goes, what is that behind? And he reached behind, and goes, Similac. I'm like, son of a bitch, you got me again.
Well, that made the joke even better because I had no idea what you were talking about, and you fuckers never talked to me because you know how everything is in a jail.
I talk to you.
Well, you would, but you know how like everything's like with our clique, everything's like you don't tell people certain things. You'll find it out
the
later.
inside jokes don't get shared outside the inside.
Well, I was on the inside, but it still didn't get shared.
Well, that's it. Look, dude.
Although I never did ask. I guess you guys just thought I knew what a Similac meant or was.
You remember the story of when Lovebug was here? We were talking about when we were in Boston.
Yeah.
The guy with his penis hanging out.
Yeah.
So that's an inside joke. The dude that we were playing the joke on, we have still never come clean to him. That was 15 years ago. Yeah, so.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I don't think I'll ever tell the dude because it's just been so long. There's no point now. But this had been, oh my god, I was like, we were 15, so yeah, like 25 years ago, 25 years ago. We always suspected this dude that we hung out with of like, well, we would smoke weed and he'd be like super. We're like, dude, how are you that? Like, you know, or we drink a couple beers and he'd be like, oh, I'm so wasted. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, I have like barely a buzz. Yeah, just stupid kids being kids, whatever. And so one time we're like, let's get this motherfucker. So we took my buddy's dad had a bunch of O'Douls in the fridge, and we took like 4 of them. We poured them into a big gulp cup, and we pretended like we were drinking all morning. Well, yeah, come on over, man. You got a bunch of beer. And he came over, and we gave him like he literally chugged the whole fucking thing. And I remember we were walking out on the train tracks, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so wasted, bro." And he's like tripping, and he fell down at one point, and he's like, "I can't see straight." And we were like looking at each other like, "This motherfucker! I knew it! I fucking knew it!"
He's probably one of them guys who go like this. And dump his beer out so you couldn't see that he wasn't drinking it.
And so you know, I don't know. I think he was full of shit, obviously, but does your brain? Is there some little part? I'm sure there is that your brain says you don't know that it's not alcohol.
Oh, I'm sure it's a placebo effect.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is.
But he literally was like falling down, and we're like,
There's a placebo effect, but I think he was playing it off.
Yeah,
I call douchebag.
Well, we were just kids, so
I still call douchebag. I don't know him, so I can say whatever I want.
Sure. He is not a douchebag, so I'll just say that. But just one of their funny things. And we never told him to this day. And the other guy that was with me, I haven't seen him for over 20 years. And we left high school. I think he left a couple years before 12th grade, and he fucking disappeared. Last I heard, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to join the army and learn how to kill people with toothpicks." He wanted to be like a Green Beret or some shit. Never know what happened to him. I don't know what he did. So never if that dream ever came true, or
I don't know.
Yeah.
Good luck to him.
Yeah. Well, I remember being in his he had an attic bedroom in an older house, and I was moving to Colorado at the time because I turned 18, and I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm like, as soon as I graduate, I'm going to Colorado, going to school out there. I was all set up, and I did. And I remember drawing this like picture on his wall with the markers. Mom probably going to fucking kill me. And I drew like this like road. You know, it's like big here and it like tapers off. Mountains in the background. Like this kid going like this, like just very like not a good picture. It was like
stick figure,
yeah. And but that was the last I ever saw that kid. Yeah. Anyways, don't know where I'm going with that. But
good memories, bro.
Yeah. Good memories.
So today we are talking about Samantha Koenig. Koenig?
Where's the highlighter name there? I can't see it. I would say Koenig.
Koenig. N-I-G.
Koenig.
This is a relatively recent story as opposed to things we've done in the past. This happened February 2012 in Anchorage, Alaska. And this was the Common Grounds Coffee Shop. So it's one of those coffee shops that's like a kiosk in the middle of a parking lot.
Yeah, they're so weird.
Well, don't you remember
a little shack?
Don't you remember the old photo booths like that?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of those photo booths got turned into little coffee places.
Yeah.
Like, there was one down in Exeter like that.
Yeah, there's one right in Wernersville. And it literally, like you said, it was a 24-hour, you hand your film in, or a 2-hour photo. You come back, or 1 hour.
Whatever.
Right? Were they 1 or 2 hours?
I saw 24 hours. I've seen 5 hours. I've seen 6 hours. I've seen 2. I've seen 1.
She won, all right.
Up close.
Anyways, yeah, that's what they were. I was like, you imagine working in that little booth, like, with all them chemicals and, like...
Well, a lot of those like the machine... Probably by the time you were old enough to see them, they had a machine. They just put the film in, and the machine did everything automatically.
Yes. I remember going to Target, and you would do that. You would take your film, and I don't know the exact process, but you would put them in, and, like, not there shortly after. You would see somebody behind the thing, like putting everything together, and then you would get your stuff back. But it was like a half hour.
So Samantha worked at this Common Grounds coffee shop. So she worked the night shift, the late shift. So when the morning shift came to open up, they found that the door was unlocked to this. So you're in the middle of a parking lot. This door's unlocked. He went in the coffee shop and he found it in all kinds of disorder. Like it hadn't been cleaned up. There was cups left out. There was towels on the counter. And he knew the girl who worked there the night before, and she was kind of known to be responsible. And although she hadn't worked there for a long time, she was known to be a responsible worker. And the coffee shop was never in this condition before when he came in.
Yeah, I want to say, wasn't he like ready to fire or something? He was like pissed off.
Well, he immediately called the owner of the place when he found it like that. Especially when he found the register was unlocked, and he immediately called his boss, and he thought that they were robbed.
That's right, yeah.
He thought somebody had come in after she left and robbed him. So Samantha had a boyfriend named Dwayne. And Dwayne was supposed to pick her up after work. Except he was late picking her up, about 30 minutes late picking her up, but he got held up at his work. So instead of getting there at 8 p.m., he got there at 8:30. The shop was already closed. When he got to the parking lot, he didn't see Samantha anywhere. The coffee shop was dark. He went over, pressed his face against the window, looked in. No one was there. And so Dwayne started thinking in his mind, well, him and Samantha had some kind of dispute via text message earlier that night. And it had gotten pretty ugly. She kind of accused him of cheating on him. And Dwayne assumed because of that fight, she didn't want to see him and got a ride from somebody else. So he sent her a text, hey, are you okay? And he heard no response. That's odd because I don't know anybody who does that. Who just doesn't respond when you text them ever.
I'm sorry. That is fucking gold.
That is good. That is good.
Should I tell the viewers what?
Go ahead.
I just got a text message in the picture room.
Save that picture and send it to me, and I'll put it up.
All right. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't send it to you.
Oh, who was it?
Vinny.
Okay.
I'll send it to you anyway. Fuck it.
Yeah, send it to me anyways. So, he tried to call Samantha, and then he tried to text her, and then he tried to call her. 7 minutes go by, and, oh, no, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself.
Whoa, Mikey, jump ahead.
I did. You fucked me up with that picture, dude.
You're taking my spot, motherfucker.
So Dwayne goes to her dad's house. He goes to where she's living, and he wants to check on her. He gets there. Samantha's father answers the door and said, "Look, I haven't seen her yet." So the two of them try to call and text Samantha, and they hear nothing. So a little bit goes by. They finally get a text message from Samantha saying that she's still very upset with Dwayne, and she's going to spend some time with friends for a few days and to think about stuff. She also asked him, "Hey, could you let my dad know that this is what I'm doing?" So this was very uncharacteristic. Her and her dad were very close. He raised her. He was a single father since she was like 3 years old. So it didn't make sense to him that she didn't text him directly, that she went through Dwayne. So Dwayne and the father stayed up all night trying to get a response from her, and she never responded again. The next morning, they contacted the police and filed a missing persons report. The police had contacted the Common Grounds coffee shop owner, and she told them that there had been a robbery and that she was also trying to get a hold of Samantha, but she couldn't. So at this point, like, you got to think she's a suspect in this. You got to think the cops think that she's involved. The owner also told the police that when they got the security camera footage from the shop, she would give it to the police. Now, if you go online, you can look at this footage.
Yeah, it's grainy, but you can.
It's grainy, and it doesn't show a whole lot, but you could see in the footage that she's scared.
Yeah.
So at this point, it was unclear to the police whether she was a victim or she was involved in a robbery.
That's what I was saying earlier. Is I believe that they, like you just said, they thought that she was a part of this whole thing.
Well, you'd have to. Like at this point, you know nothing else. All you know is there's money missing. She's missing. The shop was left open. She said, "Fuck it," took the money and left.
Right.
I mean,
have they said how old she was yet?
I
know she was young. She was probably maybe not even 20 yet. Maybe early 20s.
Honestly, I don't know. See, and you know what? Fuck you. Because I said this to Nathan. Nathan does the same thing. He always, like, you know how I research.
Yeah.
He asked me in both episodes questions I could not fucking answer. Right. And I said, dude, you're just like John. But the one thing I didn't look up is the one question you fucking ask. And
that's why I'm here. That's why it's a team effort.
It's kind of an obvious question. Like, how old is she? I don't know why I don't know why.
Well, I know she was young. She was definitely under 30.
I think she was like in early 20s. Yeah, that's what I think. I want to look it up now, but I don't want to stop doing what we're doing. So the police were trying to call all of Samantha's friends to see if they knew anything. None of them had heard anything from her. The police went to the coffee shop. They found no signs of struggle outside or inside. And the panic button that was underneath the counter had never been activated. So there's a panic button. She didn't press it. There's no signs of struggle. But if you watch a video, she complied with everything this dude told her to do.
Yeah.
So at this point, they said she's a suspect.
And you know what? That's so weird that they would have a panic button in a little coffee kiosk in the middle of this place.
Well, I've been to Anchorage. I went to.
Well, that just tells me there's a lot. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of shady shit that'll probably happen. So you think it's paradise, but
it's a very small but spread out town.
Yeah, I mean that's where people go to start over again.
Well, I will tell you this: when we were there, I went up for a mission trip. We went to Galena, Alaska. But it was 150 miles from Anchorage, but the only way to get to Galena was to fly in from Anchorage. We were told that sex crimes against children in Alaska are the highest of any place else in the United States. So there's a lot of shady shit that goes on up there. I would think there's a lot of people who end up missing up there that, because I'm sure there's not cameras everywhere like there is here.
No, absolutely not. And there's not little local police force. I believe.
Well, in Galena, there was one cop, and he was there for 2 weeks, and then he left for 2 weeks. Because while I was up there, he talked to me. He said, he goes, "Hey, would you ever?" Because he knew I worked in the jail. We talked, and he said, "Would you ever think about becoming a police officer?" He goes, "I could use a
I've
second.
got an extra bullet you can put in your revolver.
I have an opportunity for a second person up here, so you would be here 2 weeks and in Anchorage for 2 weeks, but you would be on duty 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. Then you'd fly out, and I would be on duty for 24 hours for 2 weeks." And I'm like, dude, I have no wish to be in negative 48 degrees.
And on call 24 hours a day for 2 weeks.
That, if it was 2 on, 2 off, I could do that, but fuck that negative 48.
From just watching those Alaska State Troopers, like, it's the same thing. It's like they'll go in those little towns you can only fly into.
Yep.
Of Inuit towns, and they'll have, like, I forget what they call them, like their local officer, but he can only do so much. What are you gonna do? Like, fucking, there's nowhere to go, nothing to do. Alcohol is pretty much banned in those communities, and then every month a state trooper will come in and do what they need to do, haul somebody off, whatever. But they're covering, like, you'll have like 2 guys covering the state, the size state of, like, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, and that's exactly what that guy was telling me. He goes, he told me stories about. He was the one time it was the snowstorm. He had to go out and arrest somebody. He had to handcuff him, put him on the back of a snow machine, and drive him 10 miles on a snow machine just to get back to town.
I mean, that is truly the last wild west.
So, and like when we were out there, the town we were working in had been flooded because of ice dams on the Yukon River. The families were living 150 miles from their home until their homes were fixed. 100 in Anchorage, so it was 150 miles from Anchorage to there. Yeah, it was a different world. So the security footage came in, and it began to shed a little light on what happened. The video, it has no sound, shows her happily working when someone comes up to the window, and they're unseen. You can see on camera that she acknowledges the customer, takes his order, and begins to make the drink. Then she goes to serve the drink to the dude, and then you can see her step back and put her arms up. And then she reaches over and turns the lights off. And then it gets really grainy.
Yeah.
After about a minute, she walks down to the register, scoops out the money, takes it to the window. A few minutes go by, someone leans in the window and appears to tie her hands from outside, leaning in. Due to the lights being off, it's very hard to see. It's so grainy. After he ties her hands up, he leaps to the window and stands her up and marches her to the employee entrance, out the door, and into a white truck. And that's the last you see of her. The police were hitting a dead end. Samantha's father was like rallying support to search for Samantha. And it was very public. Like, just about everybody in Anchorage and the surrounding areas had drawn national news media there.
And well, let me just say this, because I talked to somebody else about when, you remember when, what was that really famous one that just happened in the mountains, where the guy killed his girlfriend?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
While we were out in Colorado, it was going on.
Was it?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, God.
They stopped.
Brian Laundrie and, the girl. Oh.
I can't remember her name, but that's why we do this show, because I want to remember the victims' names. I don't want to remember the perpetrators much.
I can't remember.
We try to highlight the victims.
Yeah.
And there you go, just shitting all over that
Shitting
concept.
all over it. But, oh my God, what was it? They were saying something about, like, you know, somebody was complaining, why doesn't my daughter's or my son's case, you know, become headline news? And I was asking the question too, and I just like, you know what, why is that? And then the guy that I was talking to says, well, because, dude, this guy's father, like, went out of his way. And, you know, like any father, I'm sure.
Gabby.
Yeah, that's right. Gabby Potato. But there was a lot of people giving them shit, or giving the media shit, like, well, is her story only covered and not mine? And the guy I was talking to says, you know, basically, well, you forget this. It wasn't just the media. Her father, like, raised all this shit, did all this stuff, like, bugged the fuck out of the media, kept talking about it, and so it's not just the media being biased against different cases. There's a lot to.
Well, you know, if it's a slow news day, the media searches for something to highlight, and once one news agency does it, they all follow suit. There's 24-hour fucking news cycle.
Yeah,
and
But you remember there was that whole thing with, they're like, well, why do only white girls get covered?
I don't think that's true.
And I don't think so either. I mean, I'd rather nobody got covered, disappeared, and killed. You know, poor young women. It shouldn't happen to anyone. But anyways, I digress.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's valid.
Yeah.
It's extremely valid.
I was just kind of, I guess, more saying
what catches the news media's attention.
I think what they were trying to say was, like, it was just more of the father, like, paying and spending his time and doing, you know, everything in his power he could to raise alarm and get it out to everything, and that's why it became so popular.
He really pushed. There was so much support in Anchorage that it was hard to ignore in the medium, and people began to donate thousands of dollars towards a reward for her rescue. On February 24th, Dwayne and Samantha's father received a text message from Samantha's phone directing them to a sign at Connor Park. It is in Anchorage. They shared the info with the police. They headed to the park, getting there before the police. On the bulletin board at the park entrance, they found a bag with a ransom note on it, a black and white photo of Samantha with the Anchorage newspaper. Her expression was blank, and she was looking off to the side of the cavern. Like, it was a proof-of-life photo. It asked for $30,000 into his daughter's account. Samantha will be released 6 months later. Give me $30,000 and in 6 months I'll let your daughter go.
Could you imagine how powerless?
Oh, I do.
You would feel and be at this point.
I don't know what I'd do,
because you and I,
we're both fathers.
And we're both people that would probably string this guy up in your basement and torture him, but you can't get to him.
No, and dude, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's like just total powerless, and this guy's just, you know,
somebody hurts one of my kids, the safest place they can be is in jail. That's the safest place they can be.
I don't know if they'd be safe there.
I'm just saying that's the safest place they'll be.
I don't think so. Because you have access to them.
But I'm just saying. So let's take a break here for a second, and we'll be right back. I just wanted to mention quick that we are on the Deluxe Edition Network, which is the den.show. It's just a place where there's a bunch of great podcasts.
Many great podcasts.
Yeah. Actually, on my podcast list are 3/4 of the podcasts on the Den Network. I listen to them all the time. So be sure to check out the den.show.
While we're talking about the Deluxe Edition Network, let's talk about this month's Spotlight podcast, which is Barrel Age Flicks. These guys and gals go in depth on movies and a little bit of booze. I love listening to them. I think you will too. Check them out on the Deluxe Edition Network at the den.show. Look for the Spotlight podcast. The link will be there. Check them out.
And we're back. And while we were away,
We were away for too long.
I went and got us this.
He flew to Germany,
The
bought
Aventinus
one can.
Weissen Doppelbock, so we could share one.
So I just asked Mike the hardest question of his life. And I said, if you had one beer, you were stuck on an island and you can only have one beer for the rest of your life, you had an endless supply of it, what would it be?
Man, dude, that is a hard question.
So we would like to know what your our viewers' answers would be.
Comment below.
Would you take like a hard hitter, like something heavy? Like you think you're gonna go swimming for your meal out in the ocean with a spear, and you just swam 5 miles and you come back, and I want an earthquake from Reuters.
No.
10% pint.
So comment below what if you were on a deserted island and they would airdrop you beer. I don't know why you're
and God forbid if you say Coors Light, you just hit that unsubscribe button right now.
If you say Coors Light, don't even comment. So I couldn't tell you what mine would be, dude. I'm thinking
Miller Lite.
No, it can't be a light beer. I'm gonna need the calories. I got to keep up my figure. I'm thinking something
Lemony, like a porch rocker.
Okay, a shanty.
A shanty. Yeah, what is that? Leinenkugel's?
But Leinenkugel's. If I had to drink it every day, it was the only thing I could drink.
Heineken.
No. I originally said maybe, give me Labatt's. Because I like Labatt's.
Okay.
It's
I
pills.
Labatt's.
But I think I'd like something a little more flavorful than that. So maybe something on the craft side, but I could drink that pretzel beer all day long.
Ooh. Yeah, but for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Like, God damn it, I'm so tired of pretzels.
No, like an Oktoberfest or a pretzel beer.
You be trying to like switch it up, like, what can I substitute for mustard?
Can I put shrimp in this?
Yeah. How about a shark fin?
I want a shark fin beer.
Oh man, my chair's.
I'll have to spray it again.
Whack it.
So we're gonna enjoy our event in this. I love that.
It smells so good.
I love that. Yeah.
I would take this.
Dude.
This would be my island beer.
As long as I don't have to pay for it.
I'd be so drunk I wouldn't even no. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
No, I'm thinking like you said, a shanty.
Although I'd probably be like 700 pounds.
Well, you don't have enough food. You have to work for your food. You know how lazy you are.
You don't work for my fish food in this. This is food. It's everything.
So let's get back to Samantha.
You know what? Could you live off a beer?
No.
Wasn't there like monks that all they did was like they fasted and lived off a beer?
Off an Abbey Ale.
Huh.
I don't think they lived off it. So back to Samantha. A portion of the money.
But wasn't there? Sorry, go ahead.
A portion of the money was deposited, and the police and the FBI watched the account. And within three days, three separate attempts were. They tried to withdraw money 3 times. In Anchorage. So the FBI and police each time converged on a site where the withdrawal was being attempted from, but they found nothing. They looked at the ATM cameras. They saw a hooded man with a ski mask and glasses each time. The withdrawal withdrawal attempts were made in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas on March 7th. And authorities again would rush to those ATMs, and they found nothing. But this time, the ATM caught a glimpse of a car that he got into, which is a white Ford Focus. On March 13th, the car was spotted again in front of a hotel. When a driver came out and showed up to the car, a patrolman followed it, looking for a reason to pull him over. So eventually, he did pull him over for going 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. The police officer approached the car. His window was already down. The man was calm. When he was asked for his license, he presented an Alaska driver's license. His name was Israel Keys. He was 34 from Anchorage. The officer knew right away this is who they were looking for. Like, he called for backup. He searched his car, found a ski mask, a gun, and Samantha's phone. So, I'm going to go into Israel Keys before I touch on what happened.
Blew my mind.
What?
Your storytelling is otherworldly, brother.
Otherworldly?
You last time you started off with going like 100 years before the thing happened, right? And then building up to your story. Now this time you just tell the story flat out, boom, that's how it was. And now let me tell you the backstory of like the guys, this and that, and what happened.
I wanted to focus on Samantha. I don't want to focus on Israel Keys. I want to focus on Samantha. She's the victim.
Well, no, I get that, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I get it. Yeah.
Like you switch it up. It's not always like me. I'm so dumb. I would tell the same storyline over and over. Like even though I would take the same approach every time. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like I would never think to like, okay, this time I'm going to tell you the gist. Here's the story. I'm going to tell you all that one thing, and then we're going to break it down and get into it. Where this time I'm going to go 100 years back and not tell the story, but tell something completely related that'll build up to the story.
Well, in this one, I wanted to tell what happened and how it was perceived in its time. Then go back and give you this fucked up guy's.
You know what you need? You need a director's chair. That's what, like, up. Aren't they up higher, like, than everybody else's chairs?
They're just this height.
But we call it the director's chair, but I got it at Walmart, and it's the most ungodly, uncomfortable chair ever.
No, I don't need that then.
And but well, I mean, you're really sitting in it for like 2.5 hours. But yeah, I feel like that's what we need for you, Mr. Director. Mr. Director. Anyways, go ahead with your story.
So, Israel Keys was born in Richmond, Utah, on January 7th, 1978. To Heidi and John Jeffrey
Why
Keys.
are all these fucking... Here's another thing they never throw out there. Remember we always had those things with serial killers that
Their
were
middle
either
name?
in the Air Force or what was it, the Navy? Which branch of the service?
They've been in the service, period.
Been in the service. There's like 5 Qs. But here's another one I keep picking up on. Why are their moms? They have a name, and their nickname is Nee.
I don't know.
Like their mom has a nickname, like, and it always seems to be like Nee. Like,
Well, that was her. It was Heidi, and she was called Nee. Hackinson was her last name. Her maiden name. So he was the second of 10 children born to a large family, and the parents were Mormon expats from Torrance, California. So they were Mormons. They left the Mormon church, but he was born in Utah. So Key and his siblings were homeschooled and taught in Mormon beliefs until 1983. They were pretty much isolated from society. Keys lived in a one-room cabin at Rocky Creek Road, wherever the fuck that is, where they live without electric or running water. Can you imagine with 10 siblings in a one-room cabin?
No. It's got to be somebody getting pregnant tonight. It ain't me.
They lived in Colville, and they attended services at a church called the Ark, which practiced white supremacy.
No.
And Christian identity ideology. Keys later described Ark as an Amish-like church environment. So very strict.
Wait a minute.
Very restrictive.
Wait a minute. Stop. I am not going to sully the good people of the Amish faith and intermix them with white supremacy under the fact that they both believe in strict ideologies.
I'm just saying that's how he described it.
I'm just going to give my opinion on that.
So during this time, while they attended the Ark, the Keys family befriended the neighboring family of Chevy Kehoe, who was later convicted of a 1996 triple murder. So we found, that's another thing, in a lot of the stuff we've covered, these people have had close contact with someone else who was convicted or
Richard Ramirez,
suspected of some very serious crimes.
his cousin.
Yep. From with the war pictures.
Yep.
Who was
then killing his wife.
Who was
right
the one
in front of him?
Who was the one? The torso killer in New York? Is that who it was? Or one of the ones we did from New York. He was in close proximity to the Son of Sam.
No,
something like that.
We never did Son of Sam.
No, we didn't do Son of Sam, but someone we did had close proximity to that.
I don't remember.
Anyway, as a youth, Keys admitted to shooting the neighbors' houses with his BB gun, starting fires in the wood and breaking into houses for fun. He occasionally broke into houses with other youths and
who's Utes?
Utes. Did you say Utes? And those kids avoided him after he shot an animal. So you could break into a house, but don't shoot an animal.
Best beer in the world.
It is good. On occasion, Keys stole several guns from neighbors' residents, and was forced to apologize by his parents after they discovered his cache of weapons.
Well, God damn it, I hate when that happens. You steal a bunch of guns and you're forced to apologize.
So Keys was like 6'2". He's a big dude.
Was a big dude.
At age 14, he was 6'2". So he would sell these guns to local adults, these stolen guns. Keys tied a cat to a tree with a parachute cord and gored it with a 22. He didn't even shoot it. He just fucking stabbed it with the gun.
Yeah, it's it's a little worrisome.
Fucking sicko. In his teenage years, Keys had become skilled and a proficient carpenter, building his first wooden cabin at age 16. So there you go.
He lived in a cabin, so he should be pretty good at building them.
You got a fucking skill, and you still got to kill things. Soon thereafter, they relocated to Smyrna, Maine, where they collected sap from maple syrup production in a mostly Amish community.
What is with the Amish? Why are they trying to bring the Amish down?
I don't know, dude. His parents were very religious.
So, the Amish.
So the kids, him and his brothers and sisters would sneak away to watch movies because they were forbidden.
Amish porn movies?
Nope, just movies.
You're my brother. No, you're my sister. No, you're my pa. You're my auntie.
And he's talking shit to the Amish.
Yeah, edit that out, please.
No, I won't. He was forbidden to play an instrument because it was against God. Like, apparently God hates music.
Really?
Apparently. When he declared to his parents that he was an atheist, they evicted him from the house and instructed the younger siblings to never have contact with Keys again because he wasn't.
Jesus Christ, this family's fucked all beyond recognition.
While he was born in Utah, the family moved to Washington State, then to Maine. Keys developed an interest in Satanism. Go figure.
Huh.
While he developed a plan to commit a ritualistic murder.
Now, how the fuck does that happen? Where do you just say one day,
you know what? I hate God. I want to worship Satan.
hey, you know what? Let me see what this devil thing's all about. Meet you at the crossroads with a K-bar.
In the summer of 1997 or 98, Keys allegedly committed several sexual assaults on teenage girls who had been tubing with their friends down the Dutchess River.
Wait, this dude, he's all over the place.
In Oregon. Yeah, he moved to Oregon. Well, he lived in Washington State, so Oregon's like right there. Maybe he was on the border. Although this was not his first sexual assault, Keys admitted to stalking her from the tree line before very violently sexually assaulting the girl, who was estimated between 14 and 18 years of age, at knife point. He originally planned to murder her in a satanic ritual. Keys let her go to the river, go in the river tube. He let her go back in the river from where he had abducted her from.
So he raped her and set her free.
I was going to kill her, but I did her a favor. I let her go.
This shit's like, this is what makes me want to not leave the house, or not leave the house without a weapon every fucking where I go.
Absolutely, bro.
Because I would like to put a hole in this cocksucker's head.
Here we go. On July 9th, 1998, Keys promptly relocated and soon enlisted in the United States Army. When he was stationed at Fort Lewis, Fort Hood, and spent some time overseas in Egypt. Keys befriended several soldiers. During a disagreement, he informed one of them he would kill him. He would like to kill him. He passed a rigorous month-long preliminary course for the Army Rangers training.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how the fuck do you get pissed? Do they give you psychology? I would assume they do.
I would think, dude.
But he's probably riding that fine line of people that can hide it and a good manipulator.
He was noted by some of being quiet and a habit of keeping to himself. He was also a heavy drinker on the weekends. He was a big fan of the ICP, Insane Clown Posse.
Got that Fago, bro.
You know I met them, right?
Yes.
I wrestled with them.
You wrestle,
I wrestled with him.
Wrestled the snake out of his pants.
Jesus Christ. In 2001, he was arrested for DUI. He pled guilty and paid a $350 fine. He received the Army Achievement Medal for his meritorious service as a gunner and assistant gunner from December 98 to 2001, July. He received an honorable discharge. Keys then started a construction and handyman business in Alaska.
Let me ask you this. If you're such a douchebag that you say you're this guy, you get an honorable discharge, and then you've done all these douchey things the rest of your life, can they posthumously or take that away from you?
No, but I'll tell you something interesting. If you're an Eagle Scout and you ever get a felony, they'll strip your Eagle Scout from you.
That's what they should do with the fucking military. Give a fuck about what you've done. Take that shit away from you, cocksucker.
Because that was one of the things Nathan was told, when the only way you can lose this honor is if you dishonor this honor by becoming a felon or I think I like that because, number one, it's a hard honor to get. I'm so proud of my son from becoming an Eagle Scout. Like, it's amazing. And if you're going to disrespect your entire life by being a shitbag, you should not have that honor in your life.
Right, yeah. That's not what we stand by. You're like, yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout. Can I get a needle? Like, I don't mean to like make fun of like people like that, but like, come on.
So,
you know what I'm trying to say.
Back to this crime. So now he's arrested. Okay, I just gave you his background, what brought him to be the piece of shit that he is. When he was first questioned, he denied any knowledge of anything that happened. But when they gave him when they presented all this evidence against him, he said, "Give me an Americano coffee, a peanut butter Snickers, and a cigar, and I'll tell you what you want to know." So they gave that shit to him. And after he got those things, he started telling his story. And the story he told was very detailed and very disturbing. The video that I watched, the guy's a great storyteller. He was a former special operative in the military. Navy SEAL.
That's why I remember you sent me that video, but we were planning on doing this before. We never did. That's why I remember.
He could tell a good story, much better than me. He didn't give all the background of the guy. That's just me being OCD. But this next part is not the story he told, but this is the details that he gave. That's Mr. Ballin on YouTube, and I think he's on TikTok. So the story he told was so graphic that the authorities still have not released a full transcript of what he said to the public. And
I'd like to know the whole story.
I would too, because if they're saying it was too graphic, like, what the fuck else happened? So on February 12th, he decided to rob the coffee shop. But while Samantha was making the coffee, now he ordered an Americano, he decided he was also going to take Samantha. So after she handed him the coffee, he tied her up, jumped through the window, stuffed napkins in her mouth so she couldn't make a sound. While Keys was leading Samantha to the car, she tried to make a run for it. But Keys quickly caught up with her, tackled her to the ground, pointed his gun at Samantha, and told her that it had very quiet ammo, and said that she shouldn't do anything that would make him kill her. He took her to his truck.
And at this point, she cut his wiener off. That's what I would love to hear.
I'd love to say she stabbed him in the throat and he's dead.
Stabbed him in the fucking eyeballs.
So he took her to the truck and told her, "If you resist, I'm going to kill you." And at some point, Keys took her phone and her ATM card and sent the text to Dwayne, saying that, "Look, I'm still pissed at you. You know, I just need some time." They drove around Anchorage for several hours, stopping several times to allow Samantha to relieve herself, and he would get out and have a cigar. Now, I smoke cigars, and most of the cigars I smoke take me about 40 minutes to smoke them. It's not like a cigarette. It takes you 5 minutes.
Yeah, cigars take forever to smoke. Well, take me. I don't smoke cigars, but a few times I've had them.
Even if
like over an hour.
Even if I get a nub, it's called a nub. It's like that big. It's like that round. That takes at least 30 minutes to smoke and enjoy. Now, unless he had some kind of fucking backwoods or some fucking cigarillo.
Tijuana Small.
Yeah, Tijuana Small. I don't know. Maybe that's what he had. Those aren't cigars. That's shit. That's like smoking.
Whoa. Hey.
It's like smoking cow shit.
I like Tijuana smokes.
I know you do.
I did when I was like 18.
Yeah, so did I when I was 18. then I grew up. So Keys then pulled up to his house, told her to get in the back seat. He covered her with a tarp and told her not to make a move or he'd kill her. She complied, and he got out of the car. He went into the house where his girlfriend and his 10-year-old daughter were sleeping. Keys and his daughter were supposed to leave the next day for a New Orleans vacation for about 2 weeks. They were going on a cruise. Keys went back out to the car, got Samantha out, blindfolded her, took her to the back of the driveway into a shed where he sat her on a bucket, put a rope across her back and attached it to the wall. Like he tied her, basically hands behind her back, attached to the wall so she couldn't move. And it pinned her to the wall. He turned on the radio to mask any noise. He smoked a couple cigarettes. He turned on a space heater and told her if she complied and he got the ransom, he would let her go. Now, he had not made the ransom request at this point. Keys went back into the house and sure, everybody was sleeping. He drank some wine. He came back out to the shed with some water. Asked her if she asked if he had talked to her father. He said yes, he's going to raise the money. Everything would be okay. He removed the ropes, untied her hand, and she was relieved. She relaxed. Like, it's finally almost over. But basically, he just wanted to see what she would do if he set her free. So he immediately grabbed her, tied her up even tighter, and Keys told investigators when he tied her up again, he could see in her eyes that she knew what was going to happen. Keys went into the house one more time to make sure everybody was sleeping. When he returned to the shed smelled like sweat and urine. So she's panicking now. She pissed herself. She's, her temperature's up because she's panicking.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Keys then sexually assaulted Samantha. And as he got up and he was putting his clothes back on, Samantha looks up at him and says, "Are you going to kill me? Or you're going to kill me now?" Like she knew what was happening. He told her yes. He put on leather gloves. And she tried to convince him, hey, just let me go. You get the money, just let me go. I won't say anything to anybody. And Keys actually said to the investigators that he was impressed with her composure. And then he stabbed her in the back and choked her until she stopped moving. Keys said she never made a sound. Keys locked the shed, went into the house, took a shower, woke his daughter up, and started to get ready for their trip. He went back to the shed, rolled her up in a rug, and pushed it back to the back of the shed. He turned off the heater, locked the shed, and at 5 a.m., him and his daughter left for their 2-week vacation.
What the fuck?
This is a sick fuck, dude. Like, you do all that, and then you go on vacation with your daughter.
Yeah.
So she's rolled up in his carpet in the back of his shed. When he comes back, he unrolls the carpet. Keys says, because of the cold, it's cold as shit up there. She looked good. So he dressed her in fresh clothes, put some makeup on her. He sewed her eyes open, and then took the picture that was sent for proof of life. And that's why she looked so dazed in the picture, and she was staring off to the side. Like, he was kind of like holding her there, like, stop it. Now, there's a picture of this. I am not going to post this picture. If you want to see it, you can Google it.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
I didn't see it. I don't want to see it.
Okay, good. I saw
I've
it.
seen enough fucked up shit in my life.
Yeah, I've seen. I didn't need to see this picture. I saw it. I will not post it as part of this podcast.
We have more class than that.
But if you want to, you go ahead and Google it, and you missed the bus, they missed the bus, we all missed the bus. After he took the pictures, he dismembered her body and disposed of it in the nearby Matanuska Lake, north of Anchorage. Matanuska. That sound right?
Yeah.
It turns out she wasn't his first victim. He specifically preyed upon completely random people. In fact, he had kill kits stashed all over the United States. It was a cache of things he would have to commit these murders. He claimed to have several victims, but only confessed to Samantha's murder and a couple in Vermont.
Now, these kill kits, because I asked you this question last time, because I was confused. I was like, well, where is this guy traveling all over? You're like, oh, I'm going to be in Arizona. I got a kill kit stashed there. But that wasn't the case. Like, he would go to these places, select somebody he wanted to kill, then make a stash kit, hide it, in case the opportunity came about. So, it wasn't like it was pre-planned, but not like the way I originally thought.
He would stalk the people. So right. he knew shit about it, which makes me think that this was not completely random. Like, he went there to buy coffee. It says he went there to buy coffee and robbed the place and decided to kill her. I think he must have been there a couple times and knew.
Yeah, I agree.
So the only ones he confessed to was a couple in Vermont and her. Before he took his own life in jail on December 2nd, 2012, he cut his wrist and hung himself. The evidence left behind in his cell was including a suicide note, a drawing of 11 skulls, a drawing of Baphomet.
Sure.
I don't know. An inscription of Corzol on the cell's wall, all written.
I'm assuming I've heard
in Key's blood.
Sure, seen that name before. Baphomet. It's some kind of Satan.
It's got to be Satanistic shit. Led the FBI to suspect Keyes of murdering 11 victims in total. He admitted to violent crimes as early as 1996, aggravated sexual assault of a teenage girl in Oregon, in several crimes across multiple states that lasted until 2012. Keyes targeted random people across the United States to avoid detection within months of planning before committing a particular crime. So he planned the crimes, and that's why he put those murder kits there.
Yeah.
So he might have been in Vermont, saw this couple, planted a murder kit, went on his life, and then returned to Vermont and off them.
Yeah.
He specifically went for campgrounds and isolated locations. Makes sense. He claimed to only use guns he had when he had to, and preferred strangulation, which is due to the pleasure he derived from the witnesses losing consciousness in the struggle, which we've heard from other serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed not to kill children or parents of children, primarily because of his daughter.
Oh, now he has a conscience.
Yeah. Who feared he might find out about him and his crimes.
You fucking turd. Hope you're rotting in hell, cocksucker.
However, the police and FBI investigators are skeptical of this claim, suspecting of Keyes of killings of several teens or children. He believed to have committed his first murders as a teenager from 96 to 98 around Colville, Washington. 2 girls were killed in 2 separate incidents, along with one girl's mother. He did not admit to any murders in the 3 years in his he was in the United States Army, but he did admit twice attempting rapes of women, once when stationed in Egypt and another while on leave in Israel. He believed he resumed his killing spree in 2001 following his discharge. So I didn't kill nobody when I was in the Army, but I raped these girls. I raped them. No. I'm a piece of shit. Keyes admitted to investigators that he killed 4 people in Washington State, claims that he was a suspect in active investigations by the state police and the FBI. He did not have a felony criminal record in Washington, although he had been stopped on 2 occasions for driving-related offenses. Authorities were reviewing unsolved murders and missing persons cases to determine which, if any, may be linked to Keyes. Keyes is a suspect in a series of 2007 crimes by the Boca Killer near Boca Raton.
Oh, shit.
In 3 cases, a mother and a child were kidnapped from a shopping mall. In 2 cases, the mother and child were shot and killed and their bodies abandoned in their vehicle. In the 3rd case, the mother and child were released unharmed after several hours. Though the kidnapper wore a mask and sunglasses, the surviving victim caught glimpses of his face and described him as a tall, athletically built, long hair, generally matches Keyes' description. Keyes confessed to at least 1 murder in New York State in late 2012. Authorities did. Now, see, this is where, my research found that he only confessed to those 2 murders.
Yeah.
The couple in Vermont and Samantha's. And another site says he confessed to this 2012 crime. They had not been able to determine the identity. Oh, you know what it was? He confessed to 2 murders that the victims were identified in. This one he confessed to, but he didn't know who she was, and they did not regard the confession as credible. Keyes had ties to New York. He owned 10 acres.
That's this dumb hillbilly owning land all the way on the other side of the fucking United States.
I don't know, dude. I guess being a contractor is good money. Keyes had ties in New York, the dilapidated county cabin in the town of Constable. He also confessed to committing a bank robbery in New York and Texas. FBI later confirmed that Keyes robbed the Community Bank branch in Tupper Lake, New York, in 2009. He also told authorities he burglarized a home in Texas and set it on fire. So this guy's like an all-around shitbag.
Yeah.
So
it's not fair to all-around shitbags.
Yeah, I know. The Vermont murders were Bill and Lorraine Currier in Essex, Vermont. He broke into the home on June 8, 2011, tied him up before driving to an abandoned farmhouse where he shot Bill and sexually assaulted and strangled Lorraine.
Jesus Christ. Now, this is all shit I didn't know.
Their bodies have never been found. 2 years prior, he had hid a murder kit close to their home. After the murders, he moved most of the context of the new hiding place to a new hiding place in Parisville, New York, where they remained to. So he moved his murder kit to New York, and it was there after his arrest.
Now, his murder kit was basically, what, like a bucket with, a gun, tape. I don't know what you put in a fucking murder kit.
Probably a gun, tape, knife, rope. Okay. Samantha was 18 years old.
Well, you did do the research. We're pretty close.
Last confirmed victim was 18-year-old Samantha. Keyes was suspected in the murder of Jimmy Tidwell, an electrician who disappeared from Longview, Texas. This dude was fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it's what just don't make sense. How the fuck is he traveling so freely?
I don't know.
And what did he do for a living?
He was a contractor.
What contractor travels all around the world?
I don't know, dude.
Or the United States, I should say.
He robbed a bank in Azell, Texas on February 16, 2012. It looks like he wore Tidwell's, the guy he killed, the electrician he killed, looked like he wore his hard hat when he robbed the bank. Burglarized 20 to 30 homes across the United States, robbed several banks between 2001 and 2012. He's linked to as many as 11 deaths in the United States, potentially even more victims outside the country, because even though he said he wasn't killing anybody while he was in the military, they don't buy it.
Oh, bullshit. Yeah, I don't buy it either.
Although our other serial killers that have been in the military went dormant on their killings during the time they were in the military.
He's just so disciplined and regimentary. You don't have time to.
That could be. He's planned murders long ahead.
Join the military so you don't become a serial killer.
He planned murders long ahead of time and took extraordinary action to avoid detection. While this seems to be true in most cases, I question that in the case of Samantha. Because it kind of seems like it was a spur-of-the-moment thing, but that doesn't seem like him.
Yeah. Come on.
Like
the 18-year-old, sure she was probably good-looking, too.
Unlike,
coffee shop.
Well, here's the thing. Unlike most serial killers, he didn't have a victim profile. He didn't have an MO, except for strangulating and dismembering and sexual assault. But he didn't have an MO in type of victim. He had no known connections to his victims. For the Courier murders, Keyes flew to Chicago, where he rented a car, drove 1,000 miles to Vermont. Then he used his kill kit that he had hid 2 years earlier to perform the murders. Right. So, like, this dude is just a fucking sicko. So that's pretty much a story of Samantha. I heard this on...
I saw this a while ago, yeah.
I heard this in passing on one podcast, so I searched. And that's how I found Mr. Ballin. And he did like an in-depth story on this. And I decided I was going to research this and look into it because it interests me.
Yeah. A tragic story, but...
Tragic story for the father who had already lost his wife.
This piece of shit.
Yep.
Kills himself in fucking jail. Not fair.
So that's the story of Samantha Koenig. Koenig? I don't know.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. So we took on that. You go take on the world.
Is it what?
They're weird.
Our podcasts exist because of listeners like you. To find other great shows, head over to theden.show. Thanks for listening.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is going to go downhill real quick.